cameras on. There's nobody watching. My nipple pasties are itching. How is you?
Yeah.
Hey, Sarah.
I'm okay. Thank you. You?
Yeah, I think I've got loads of fucking Christmas presents to wrap tonight. I know Rachel. I think Rachel said she was going to come up and do it on the bed and the wrapping. So
we haven't got anywhere near any Christmas presents wrapped yet. We got them.
We got the presents, and it was you know when you look at them and you go, "Oh, I'll do it tomorrow," and then it's, I'll do it the weekend.
We can't do that because we've got both. Tamsin's birthday has just been and gone. Tamsin's birthday's just been and gone.
Yeah.
And I've got Freddie's in 2 weeks' time, or just under 2 weeks' time. And in between, we've got Tamsin and Freddie's birthday party.
Freddie's the same date as Finley.
21st.
Yeah.
So
winter.
We're organising everything for the birthday party and for all the birthdays at the same time. And then we got the Christmas presents as well. So, of course, we're getting caught in all of that. And I'm just like, yeah, right. And then Bright Spark me doing the kitchen at the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
yeah,
okay, we'll get there in the end.
And hello, Insane Asylum. Insane Asylum. Who is Insane Asylum? Hello. If it's, I tell you what, you ain't gonna get a straight jacket to fit me. I wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
I'm being watched. I think you are as well.
Aliens! Cat! I don't know if you can see that cat. That's Bob.
Hi, Rita.
Oh, hey, Rita. Mark with it, she nips. No, I was actually going, let's tune in Radio 1. Oh, and we have Yoda here as well. Hang on. That's Yoda. We've got Bob over there. And somewhere is Leela over there.
We got that.
So, Mark with the itchy nips. So how is everybody? How the very devil are you? Oh, before I forget, I didn't tell you. I was going to message you earlier and I completely fucking forgot. Do you see why when I did the online ADHD test, you can see why it said 85% that I've got it, can't you? Yeah. Anyway, I was doing my afternoon run, with my job.
The toilet.
Yeah. Big job. And I was, when I go and pick the kids up from school in the afternoon, I take the minibus up across the thank you, Eric. Well, I take the minibus up across the Dales and the moors. It's like a shortcut because their school's in the middle of nowhere. And as I was coming down this road, it takes you right in the middle of what's called the Wolds Triangle, WLLDS, the Wolds Triangle, and it's where all the reports have been, which I never knew existed, of skinwalkers, dogmen, wee wolves, big cats, and there's been tons of reports in this Wolds Triangle. And I was driving along, and I was like, "Morning, man, biz, do." I think Becky was on the phone to me. Yeah, I'm sure Becky was on the phone to me. And I'm driving along, and I'm like, "Oh, blah blah blah," talking, and I just look to the right, and I'm literally along the tree line because it's all woods and everything, like spruce trees and everything. There was a fucking black cat, and I don't mean one of these black cats. I'm talking big black cat. And I've seen two cougars, and we're not talking 40-something-year-old females with short skirts. I've seen two cougars in the past in the wilds in Somerset. One walked across the front of the road in front of me and Taylor, and myself and Becky have seen a sandy-coloured one drinking from a brook, and it was the same size, tail like that. And to start with, I only noticed it because it was like jet black against the green. And I sort of looked like that as I'm going past. And I thought it was a bin bag. And then all of a sudden he went and just sat up and looked and was like that. And I've got, what the fucking hell was that? And I couldn't stop. There was 3 bloody cars behind me. And there was a load of other cars coming straight towards me. Yeah, if you could, please. Thank you. Hi and bye. But yeah. And there was this bloody great big cat. And went down to a side lane that I have to turn off on. You can still see the field from the side, and I've turned and looked, and things gone. So I was going to stop if I had enough time on this side lane and try and zoom in and take a picture, because my phone's got like 100 times zoom on it. But now gone. And I shit you not, there was no drugs involved or alcohol. It was a bloody great big black cat. Do I believe cougars or mountain lions can be all black? No, not for a second. I've seen a black cat in the wild in Somerset, and that was a panther, easily a panther. But I've seen a cougar or the beige panther. I've seen that drinking from a brook in Somerset as well. Hang on. So yeah, no, not all the big cats that were set loose in the 70s when the licenses changed. You've got all sorts of different things out there: panthers, cougars.
Yeah. Places like the Yorkshire Dales and the Devonshire Moors and places like that, they're quite good places for them to sort of hide out.
Jaguars and leopards, the black cats. If you look closely at black cats' fur, if you can get that close, you'll actually see the spots from from here to this Chester Drawers here. You won't, but if you close up and you can actually see the spots. So yeah, leopards and panthers and everything, there's all sorts of things. But like I say, I've seen two before, and when I reported it to the police, they were like, oh yeah, we know all about it. They got a list and they knew all about it. And it's the same up here. And if you look at the Wolds Triangle, you'll see all the reports of everything that's here. And I live in the Wolds Triangle, or right on the edge of it, because we've got the forest and everything all sort of up from us. So yeah, it's all cool.
Yeah. And you obviously while you were driving, so you couldn't really just stop and take a picture, could you?
I couldn't. There was 3 cars behind me, and there was another 2 coming down that way.
Yeah.
It is. It's the opposite of albinoism. Yeah, they're fascinating creatures. I love big cats. Absolutely love them, and I know about all the reports, and I know, like, what Wayne and I, we regularly talk about cryptozoology and stuff like that. And up and down. It's normally along the coast. It's the coast, the dales, and the moors where you get all the big cat sightings. And I lived in Somerset for nearly 20 years. And Somerset, that's where they talk like that. And it's like down there, and you've got all the forests and the woods and the trees and everything like that, you see. And so there's loads down there. And as you come along the coastline back up, you get loads and loads and loads. And then you get talk of the black shucks and the black dogs and stuff, and Newcastle and Tyne and Wear, they've got them all, and it's all the way around the UK, all the way up the coastline and stuff. So, and they're gradually going inland because there's been more and more reports of them. If this can happen in jaguars and leopards, why not cougars? Well, aren't cougars members of the panther family? I'm sure they are. I'm sure cougars are panthers.
The thing is, there'll be all manner of wildcats out there. It's not just a case of panthers. There are other large cats out there. It's just the fact that obviously some of them, because they're more natural in colour.
What does he mean?
They blend in with the background more.
Oh, hey, Bev. Exactly. And the thing is knowing that they're there, and you know that they're either jet black or beige or variations of the two, or black with spots or beige with spots, whatever the fuck, that camouflage is amazing because you don't see him. I mean, there was a sighting a few years ago of one up in the woods near RAF Staxton Wold, and a guy was walking his dog, because again, it's something that we look into because it's the Dark Mirror Radio show. And he was walking his dog. We spoke about it. I don't know if you remember. And his dog started hackles up, and it was a Great Dane, I think. And then he's like, well, what the fuck? And the dog's crapping itself. And this is a Great Dane, mind. And it stopped dead in its tracks, and it wouldn't go any further. And he's trying to get the dog to come on in its normal walk. And then they heard a like that. And he's like, what the fuck? Looks up, and there's this black panther in the tree with a deer. It had freshly caught this deer, and it dragged it up into the tree, and it was watching these two and saying, don't you fucking dare come near my dinner. And the guy literally backed up, You're
not having my grub.
Cougars can be black, because I'm sure cougars. A cougar is. Let me look it up. Hang on. I'm sure a cougar is the American name for a panther. I'm sure it is, because I'm sure a mountain lion cougar is a member of the panther family. Let me have a look. Is a cougar? I dread to think what Google Images will give me for that.
Or can a cougar be black? I think that's more the appropriate question.
Can a cougar be black? Well, that's racist. Can a cougar? I drive a Ford Puma. Can a cougar be black? Let's have a look. There is, however, it says apparently no black colour phase of a cougar has ever been documented. However, there is documentation of melanistic jaguars, Pantera onca, that live in Mexico and south of northern Argentina, as well as melanistic leopards in Africa. So, in answer to your question, yes, rare, but thank you very much for my beautiful assistant there to pass me my alien cup. So, thank you.
Thing is, I like the way Google and that tried to get around it by saying there is no authenticated case of a truly melanistic cougar. It's not like that. Melanistic cougar.
Melanistic cougar. But it is. I mean, I've seen black leopards. You know, because I love all that stuff, and I've seen shows on it, and they've shown black leopards, and as you said, we said just now, if you look really closely, you can still see the spots. But 9 out of 10 black panthers are actually leopards. But if I remember rightly, a panther is a cougar. And again, all jokes about middle-aged women in short skirts, cougars, panthers. There's nothing wrong with cougars. I've got 3 cats in this bedroom, and each one of them thinks it's a cougar. I got the black and white tuxedo cat down there looking at the door going, I hate everybody. You got Yoda here. Yes, a black Yoda. He's here going, dude, because I swear he's permanently stoned. And then you got Bob over here who's permanently startled, and he's just excited about everything. So, I
like that, actually. A lot of people misconstrued. Apparently, black panthers do not exist as a species.
Yes, mountain lions, pumas, cougars, panthers, they're all the same family.
Yeah, black panthers do not exist as a species. If you open any field guide to wild cats of the world, there will be no species as a black panther. All of the large black cats you see on TV and in zoos are black jaguars and leopards. They are not a separate species, but a variant of those cats that show an overload of black pigment in sort of a reverse fashion of albinism.
That's exactly what you're reading. The same thing I did. But
with that said, thousands of reports of black panthers in the United States.
Yeah. And over here in the UK, we've got there's so many black panthers. You got the black panthers and what you guys would call the mountain lions, which again are panthers, but they're the beige ones. So and black panthers purr. Did you know that panthers purr? And I think it's the biggest. Is it the biggest big cat that purrs? No, a leopard and a cheetah. They're the biggest big cats that purr. Tigers and lions don't. There you go. That was information that you didn't know you wanted, but you can thank me later. You can thank Wayne later. You got the information here on the Dark Mirror Radio Show, and you can use that in pub quizzes.
Speaking of quizzes, we got one next week.
We have got our Christmas quiz next week. I think what we'll do, we'll start at 9 because they go on. I think make sure you have a drink whilst you're doing it because it's always good fun. Mr. Josh, if he's watching, I don't know if you're watching, Josh, but Josh is going to try and join us from America. He was going to give us a call and he's forgotten. Siobhan, hi Siobhan. Yeah, we see you here quite regularly, Siobhan. You're on every week, love. But yeah, he's going to try and join us. And Mr. Wayne is joining us, and his missus, and my missus is, and Andy is, and he is pooping himself because it's the first time he's going to be on camera as part of the team. There you go. That's my black and white cat. Oh no, she's just gone over there. Oh, she's jumped on the window. She's camera shy. She did that as she walked past.
Don't look at me. I'm shy.
Oh, I'm shy. I used to do my head in that thing. Do you remember that?
That was from
Smack the Pony?
Little Britain.
No, it was the two girls. It was the two girls that did a comedy show. And one, she used to dress up as a French maid and go, "Don't look at me, I'm shy," whilst bending over and doing shit like that. Remember?
Oh, I thought it was the Fast Show.
No. Now the Fast Show is did she look like a deer caught in the headlights, sir? Oh, suit you.
Oh no, they did loads of characters, but I'm sure they did one where they say, "Oh, don't look at me, I'm shy."
Yeah, that was the girl from the girls' show. I'm sure it's called Smack the Pony.
I've never watched Smack the Pony, so how would I know the character?
Gone and Smack the Pony a few times.
They did know.
Yeah.
They did know. Oh, sorry to hear that, Bev.
You broken your hip? Were you break dancing or were you dirty dancing? Or were you on page 58 of the Kama Sutra? We don't know, but we need to know these things. We don't like to know what our watchers and followers are hurting themselves. So take it easy. What are you doing? Stop it.
But,
what was I going to say? Right. I've got a question for you all. And what do you think makes for a qualified UFO sighting? Now, the whole reason I want to do this is because whenever I'm not surprised if he fell down. I thought you said you feel down. I was going to say it's not.
It says I feel down.
I feel down.
I reckon it was I fell down.
I think it was I fell down. Hi, Cliff.
You won't feel down after being on this show for a couple of minutes. Definitely.
What do you think of bald, mate?
Just to make you smile.
It does. It does. I always try and make you smile. I try and make everybody laugh. UFO sightings. What do you think qualifies for a real UFO sighting?
How do you class qualified, though?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Well, what ingredients do you think, Aileen, makes it a real UFO sighting? What do you guys in the chat room think? Because as you know, our main thing is UFOs, cryptozoology, and conspiracy theories.
I personally, I think that what would make a bona fide official UFO sighting obviously is something that is not terrestrial.
Yeah.
So if it's not an aeroplane or a helicopter, what is it going to be?
Well, whole reason
obviously, I mean, there was a case nearby. I say nearby in Hertfordshire last year.
Hertfordshire. Where the hobbits were hairy feet.
Now, a Ryanair aircraft was taken off from Stansted Airport and was at a height of 4,000 feet and just over the St Elizabeth Centre in Hertfordshire. The pilot saw an object which described as black, which passed within 20 metres of the aircraft. The plane was travelling at around 230 miles an hour, and the object was travelling from north to south. And they have said that it was possibly a drone, but the drone monitoring equipment at the airport did not pick anything up. Now, the question you then have to ask yourself is how many civilian drones can go to 4,000 feet?
Exactly.
Pass within 20 metres of them. So obviously that's come from a professional pilot. He saw a black object. Now, this black object has passed within 20 metres of the plane. I personally I've had a drone and I've never been able to get it past 200 feet. So
I've got one, and yeah.
You know, and then I can zoom forward to June this year. Bizarrely enough, this was in Colchester in June. And the official report that was given to Essex Police was that it was a solid oval shape and was silent. This was not a drone or a model aircraft due to the way it was flying, and the person viewed it from inside the rear of their home. The object did not leave their sight until it was too far in the distance and obscured by another property. No explanation as to what this object could be. They said I would like to report a sighting of an unidentified flying object. This occurred around 11:05 this morning on the 5th of June 2023. The object appeared oval in shape and was a metallic colour with no apparent markings or lights. There were no conventional aircraft characteristics at all. The object was travelling east to west just south of my address in a straight line, and the altitude was level around 100 feet at all times as a guess. The object was moving quickly across the sky, very smoothly, with no deviation in height or direction, or without any effects of the weather, as the only way I could describe it. It was moving too fast for a bird and definitely was not a balloon that usually get affected by wind, causing them to turn or tumble. This was unaffected by the light breeze blowing.
So it obviously hadn't flown over here after a curry. Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, by going by, by going by witness sightings, they've also got to be a non-conventional shape, because any Tom, Dick, and Harry can identify an aircraft. You know, we all know what a helicopter looks like, and we all know what an airplane looks like.
Well, the whole reason that I say this is, you know yourself, when we did not the Christmas investigation just gone, but the one before, we had the UFO in the sky that we saw. Remember the thing that took a Polaroid? Yeah. And I've had a few people like over the weeks. I get, because I wear my hoodie everywhere I go, so I get people asked about the show. And one of the main things I get asked is how can you tell what's a UFO? That's why I put it out to you guys. Drones, and this is again, Wayne and I, we've spoken about this. When you're looking at stuff, the easiest way to spot like a plane, a helicopter, or a drone is they have a flashing light. Planes and helicopters normally have a fore and an aft, or a port and starboard. But whenever we've seen UFOs, I mean, we've seen UFOs together a couple of times, haven't we?
Yeah.
They're a uniform color, and it's normally like an off orange, isn't it? It's like sort of like a weird orange light, and they have no flashing lights. They're just a one color, and that's it. And they're normally way up there, but you know, it's that one we saw over Skegness. That was an orangey color, wasn't it?
Yes. Until it took the picture. Well, that's only us assuming it took a picture, because that was what it looked like.
It was weird, wasn't it? When it
just stopped right over the top, and it was as if it took a picture with a flash.
Yeah.
And then said, "Right, I'll take my picture and off I go," and it just pooed it off. And
somewhere you've got these guys looking at pictures, going, "Oh, bless! Look at those aliens down there," and there's you and me going.
But so I mean, yeah, it's weird, because obviously the term flying saucer was brought about after Roswell.
Yeah,
and that was only because it was categorized as a flying disc. So then the terminology flying saucer got brought up. But in theory, if you go back to Adolf Hitler's and the crazy Nazi scientists and Die Glocke, that certainly wasn't a flying saucer.
Well, they still reckon that there's a Nazi bases there, don't they? Because he, at one point, I can't remember which admiral it was, but they were just before the World War II started, they went to Antarctica and said that they were doing a whaling base. They were doing a whaling base because it was predominantly they sold the most baleen and whale fat to around the world, and then World War II started. And the legend is that this whaling base was actually an R&D base, and if you go under and go into the middle of the ice pack, or whatever you want to call it, the ice floes, whatever, is the real base. And what was it? New Schwabenland. New Schwabenland is supposed to be where they did the R&D on the UFOs, and a lot of the UFOs you see in the over the snow is supposed to be theirs. And when Admiral Byrd took his mini fleet over there, they got taken on by two Nazi UFOs. It wasn't read that it was a Nazi UFO, but they presumed it was because it was in the area of New Swabenland, and these 2 UFOs came out of the water and took on this fleet, and the fleet, the might of the American fleet, they turned and ran from these 2 things. Nothing they fired at these two UFOs could touch it. So, and I've seen the interview with Admiral Byrd and stuff, and the things that he's seen and talks about, either that guy was off his tits on mushrooms, or he knew what he was on about. Have you ever seen him when he talks about when you go beyond the ice wall in Antarctica, and there's like mountains and green fields and this, that, and the other, and he said there's enough food there, food-free resources there to feed everybody. There's enough coal there to keep everybody going for thousands of years, and all this stuff. And it's like, but there's supposed to be nothing there, and there's supposed to be another R&D base out there, which is supposed to have something to do with, it's got, what is it? Ionized microwave technology that's used for detecting UFOs, but apparently it can be pointed and the power on it can be adjusted, so it's either good or bad, and it's actually a weapon. It's used as a weapon, but they say it's no. It's a monitoring station, and it's not.
Yeah, but it's like the videos that went out after the fires in Hawaii. They're saying about this high energy weapon being used.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, that's just you in War of the Worlds heat ray rubbish. And you're like, well, hang on a minute. We know for a fact that the spotlights used on police helicopters, if the light from one of those is focused enough and concentrated in one particular area, it can set fire to things.
Yeah, that's right.
So, and that's just a police helicopter.
Yeah.
On an industrial or military scale, that same light can be used to devastating effect.
Well,
why not? It is possible. It's just they're trying to blindside you into thinking that it's not.
They develop. The thing is, I've noticed with military R&D, they'll bring it out and say, "Oh, it's for this purpose," and it can be used for that purpose. However, the flip side to it is it can be used as a weapon, and it is used as a weapon. So it's like my FWOM torch that I bring on investigations.
Yeah,
it's only that big, and it just goes boom, lights up everywhere. When you've got it on the highest setting, if you put your hand over it, it'll burn your hand.
The only problem is when you put it on that high setting, the battery drains pretty quick.
I think it takes 3 hours and then it's gone. If you have it on high, it lasts 36 hours. Sorry, low. If you have it on low, it's 36 hours. Medium, it's 12 hours, and then when you put it on high, it goes anywhere between 1.5 to 3 hours.
And depending on how old the torch is, the battery just goes.
I've had it. I must have had it about 8 years, and it's still the best torch I've ever had. Hell of a lot of money for it, but it was one of those things.
In answer to Cliff's message that he sent in now, always think a flying disc that spins and creates a force to fly is not affected by gravity. The thing is there is obviously the wonderful little gadget called red mercury.
Yep. That's what the Glock was powered by, wasn't it?
And that is supposed to alleviate and get rid of all the need for a centrifugal force being used to counteract gravity by using red mercury in a certain way. So it's, you get rid of a physical thing with a chemical thing. And now I can't remember what they called it now. It was element 415, isn't it? Or something silly like that.
I know the one you mean, the rare one.
Yeah, they've actually now put it onto the periodic table because it is actually a thing. So this red mercury is whatever they're assuming is powering some of these UFOs, which, as Mark just said, red mercury was used for deglocker. So where did they get red mercury from?
And for those of you who don't know what deglocker is, because most of you guys in the chat room probably do, but for those of you who are watching and don't know what deglocker was, it was one of Hitler's attempts at. It's supposed to have been. Well, the jury's out as to whether it was a time travel device, whether it was a portal device, go zoop, zoop, and and peer over there, or whether it was his attempts to invent an engine for a UFO. We don't know. But out of all of those, it used red mercury. And the thing was, there are, again, I won't say legends, but there's been evidence that the Nazis were given advanced technology to build the stuff that they built, and they were ahead of the rest of us with the things that they built. And that, to be fair, that will explain a lot. And when you look at his paranormal branch of the SS and all the things that they were going looking for, and like the Black Lightning and everything like that, did they find half of those things, and were half of those things taken to the Antarctic? You know?
Well, exactly. I mean, that's what you have to ask yourself. Is that what they've done?
Have you ever seen, what's that bloody film? It's a piss take film. It's about Nazis having a moon base, and they turn a black guy white in it and everything. It's a funny film. I'm like, what the hell is it called? Iron Sky.
Sorry, I've just looked up red mercury because I'm sure I had heard and seen the other day when I was watching various documentaries that they had actually put it on the periodical table because it is an element.
Yeah.
And someone has put it into Wikipedia that red mercury is a discredited substance, most likely a hoax perpetrated by con artists who sought to take advantage of gullible buyers on the black market for arms.
Bollocks. Absolute bollocks. Do you know, some of these people in Wikipedia, when you read some of them, you're just like...
But when you look further down, it says, what can red mercury do? Now, it is a superconductive material used for producing high-precision conventional and nuclear bomb explosives, stealth surfaces, and self-guided warheads.
Stealth surfaces? That's interesting.
Stealth surfaces. What is the difference between red and silver mercury? In pure form, mercury is silver in colour. The following assumptions about red mercury have been proved as false. It could be part of a fraud. The title red would refer to the form Communist Europe. The name was made during Cold War.
They don't want you to know about it, do they?
No. No, I don't wear your glasses, do I, you donut?
Are they on top of your head?
How does red mercury affect water? Containers put next to each other. Water changes from colourless to reddish colour. And when bottles are removed, after some time, the water regains its colourless colour. How much is red mercury in Kenya? So you can actually buy it, apparently.
But what, the stuff that doesn't exist?
Yeah, the stuff that don't exist. Pure red liquid mercury, 99.999% at RS 150 rubles, do you reckon that is? Or rupees? A gram.
Where are they? Hi, Irene.
Oh, yeah, it will be rupees because in India, in Delhi.
In India, yeah. I thought it was Africa. I was going to say probably South Africa would be rand, wouldn't it?
I'm sure I'd read somewhere. But again, when you look at it, there is one small problem with these tales. The substance doesn't actually exist. Red mercury is a real herring, real red herring. But the thing is, right, is all of these people say red mercury is false. It doesn't exist, right? If that's the case, what's the mercury in a thermometer?
Yeah.
Because you get silver mercury and you get red mercury. So what is the red liquid in a thermometer?
Well, I'm just looking up on a different browser to see what it says, because I find if you use mainstream browsers, especially, well, you guys out there, a lot of you on there do the paranormal, and you some of you out there do shows as well, and you'll know yourself when you're doing your research. If you use mainstream browsers like browsers like Gargle, like Google, and like hey Google, like Google and Yahoo and stuff like that, it won't give you half the information you want, or it'll poo-poo it and say it doesn't exist. if you go on to another browser like Tor or Bang Bang, is it Bang Bang Duck? No. The fuck is Bang Bang Duck? What's the other one called? Fuck me gently. What's it called? My brain. Bang Bang Duck. What the fuck? I've been reading too much Pratchett. You know the one. What's the damn thing called? Duck Duck Go. Ah! If you use Duck Duck Go and stuff, Godzilla raised baby in the regular market. Yeah, he did. Yeah. See, Irene knows this shit. She's over in Japan, so she knows all about.
Yeah.
Oh, Godzilla.
Well, the thing is, I have found something else. Right.
Thank you.
So, for all the soothsayers that said red mercury doesn't exist, okay, if red mercury doesn't exist, how come black mercury does?
I'm just looking at it now.
Mercuric sulfide appears as odorless red or a black solid. It sinks in water, insoluble in water. Mercury sulfide is a sulfide of mercury that occurs naturally as the minerals red cinnabar and black metacinnabar. So, if it's red in colour, surely that must be red mercury.
Hang on, it said it was false flag. Well, I'm just looking at the New Scientist. Cherry red and very dangerous. Red mercury, a uniquely powerful chemical explosive which has been dismissed by many experts as a myth, is real, and it could pose a serious threat to the world's attempts to control the spread of nuclear weapons.
Yep. The BBC are even saying about it being a myth.
Of course, nobody wants you to know about the propulsion system.
For centuries, rumours have persisted about a powerful and mysterious substance, and these days, adverts and videos offering it for sale can be found online. Why has the story of red mercury endured? Some people believe it's a magical healing elixir found buried in the mouths of ancient Egyptian mummies. Or could it be a powerful nuclear material that might bring about the apocalypse? Videos on YouTube extol its vampire-like properties. Others claim it can be found in vintage sewing machines or in the nests of bats. There's one small problem with these tales. The substance doesn't actually exist. Red mercury is a red herring. Despite this, you can find it being hawked on social media and on numerous websites. Tiny amounts are sometimes priced at thousands of dollars. Many of the adverts featured a blurry photo of a globule of red liquid on a dinner plate. Next to it, there will often be a phone number scribbled on a piece of paper for anybody foolish enough to want to contact the seller. Serious buyers only, reads one advert. We need proof of funds to make proof of product. The impression given is that mysterious and illicit commodity is on offer. It's a game of con artists, and the danger is that people are going to be swindled, that they might be robbed or mugged, or that they'll just waste their time, says Lisa Wynne, head of Anthropology Department at Macquarie University in Sydney. Professor Wynne first came across the phenomenon when she was working at the pyramids of Giza in Egypt and sharing an office with the leading Egyptologist, Dr. Zahir Hawass.
Did you say Giza in Egypt?
Yeah.
So you've got some bloke there go, do you want to buy a motor?
Oh, mate, John. It's dodgy stuff, One day, Dr. Hawass received a visit from a Saudi prince whose mother was in a coma. This man had been spending all of his energies and money trying to find something that would save his mum. So he turns to the sheikh in Saudi Arabia, a faith healer, who tells him there is a magical substance that is found buried in the throats of mummies in ancient Egypt. And if you go to Egypt and ask this archaeologist, he'll be able to provide you with red mercury. But when the man arrived in Egypt, the archaeologist set him straight. Dr. Hawass says, I'm sorry about your mother, but this is a bunk. This is no such thing as red mercury. So this just repeats exactly what I've been saying about social media and the internet itself. For everything that makes sense and that gets put out there that is truthful and honest and is real, there are people out there that are purposely putting crap out there and flood the internet with that crap. to try and push you away from the truth.
And that's why you get the likes of people like us who do this stuff to bring you what we know. Red mercury is real. And yeah, you're right there, Irene. They use it to power their ships back along in antiquity. Scientist Sam Cohen, and he was the American nuclear physicist who invented the neutron bomb, said, hang on, I've lost myself. Talk amongst yourself. I've lost it. Red mercury is real, and it is terrifying, especially if you think about it being used as part of a terrorist weapon. That potentially spells the end of organized society. It's that dangerous.
The thing is that I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to put you off of wanting to purchase red mercury because of its properties and because of what it can be used for. I mean, like the article said, that it can be used for nuclear weapons, warheads, and stealth technology, stealth coatings.
What is it said stealth? It didn't say stealth technology, did it? It said stealth.
No, stealth coatings.
Yeah, now stealth coatings, very interesting. Very interesting. Well, have you seen?
Because someone did actually mention that. They did go, what stealth coatings? Well, stealth coatings will be things like the outside edges of things like the SR-71 Blackbird, the F-117A, and the F-111. Any stealth technology aircraft and ship, because they're doing it on the ships now and the submarines to avoid detection from sonar, will have this special coating, and it will be on the tiles or on the actual paint that they're using.
Hi, Jamie.
To coat that craft.
Yeah.
Which then makes it almost invisible. I think with the SR-71, when that was being flown within radar zones, it would show up the size of a sparrow. So therefore, surface-to-air missiles would not see that as a threat and would not launch.
Well, the thing is that all these different mercuries, I mean, you got normal mercury, you got black mercury, you got red mercury or Ready Mercury, then you got Freddie Mercury, and you got all these things going on, especially if it's using technology for stealth. One thing I've got to say, have you seen, because I don't know if you've seen the videos that have been coming out lately of the Japanese inventing the invisibility camouflage? A guy came on a symposium and had that thing. Was that real? Was that not real?
Problem is, I've seen a few of those as well, and I struggle to believe it. I do struggle to believe it because it seems too much like Harry Potter.
See, I've seen the cloak one, and the cloak one to me looked bollocks, mate.
It looked
like Harry Potter,
superimposed. It looked like a green screen job. All he's done is held up a green blanket.
Yeah, but
and then when you look at the other ones as well, I think myself, right, okay, now I saw the green blanket one before I saw the others.
Yeah,
and now all of a sudden we're seeing these other ones. Well, this is where we have to look at the difference between AI videos and real videos, because as we've been saying, AI now is getting so bloody clever that it can generate these images and generate these looks quite easily, and people will be fooled by them. Like I said, the bloke walking down with the cloak, that you could see was superimposed. That was green screen.
100%.
But he's just held up a bright green blanket. But the other ones, they're the newer videos. And they're the ones that have been edited properly. There's time gone into them. They just look a little bit too, how can I put it, too Hollywood. But I don't think it's, the cloaking material is there, but I don't think it is as good as what we're being shown.
The one I've seen that I don't think is AI, because it yourself, AI looks too crystal, too clear, too like looking in a mirror sort of thing. I
Yeah.
saw some Japanese guy on a symposium at a microphone, and he was presenting this thing, and these two chaps had it was like in a frame, and it had like a fabric in it, and when it was upside down, it didn't do anything, and then when they turned it around the other way, it went whoop, and it blanked out the guy standing there. And it was just like he wasn't there. And then they would, because obviously I don't speak Japanese, so I don't know what they were saying. But that one did look cool. But that one with the cloaks, well, I've seen them with the cloaks. No, because that literally looks like something out of Harry Potter, like you said. And it's like, really, Mr. Weasley, you know? So,
but that's the problem. I mean, when the SR-71 was made, you know, that was all to do with the tiling that they used on the actual aircraft.
That's right.
Flush edges, the exhaust ports were in certain positions so that it didn't give off much of a heat signature. You know, and then they turn around and go, oh, well, we're getting rid of that because we're now in favour of the F117A and so on. And then, so they mothballed the SR-71. Then they realised the SR-71 was actually the cheaper alternative, and we should have been using that all along, but it was too late because we've already mothballed them. And now they're looking at bringing out the SR-72. So the SR-72, like Jamie said, they've gone away from using paint and tiles now. It's more of a lacquer that they put over the top. So it's, you know, it's bizarre, but I don't know. I mean, the ones that I've seen have been things like on ships, planes and tanks, where there is a very small camera pointing in one direction that projects that image that it's seeing on the other side.
I was about to mention that.
And that then allows it to be invisible to somebody viewing from that side. That side of it, yes, I do believe that is possible. However, the technology has got to be done in such a small way that doesn't use up so much power, because that is the ongoing issue they've got at the moment. To use that technology properly, to hide an entire battleship, you need a lot of energy.
Project, not the Manhattan Project, because that was the atom bomb. Project, my fucking memory. The one where they did make the ship invisible and it appeared about 20 miles down the river and then went and then came back again.
And that was Philadelphia experiment.
That's it, Philadelphia. Yeah, Philadelphia experiment. Yeah. Well, that was all to do with stealth camouflage.
Yeah.
And the two that I know of in the military, which there was rumors, because Wayne's ex-RAF, I'm ex. It's only TA. It's like the US. What do you call it in the US? Their version of the TA, National Guard. But the ones I knew of, I knew about the camera ones, and there's supposed to be suits with tons and tons of cameras on that projects everything back. But there's also a mirror one as well, which is like lots and lots of mirrors, but it's not glass, it's something else. And while it does reflect back and it looks like there's nothing there, you can make out an outline of whatever's there. It's not good. But the other one, the one with all the cameras, is supposed to be a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, and that's because it's actually taking in the image that it sees on the opposite side and then projects it on the other side. So you're then getting the appearance that you're looking straight through something. Yeah. So it then, and it's all in a way, all in a bid to try and make that object invisible. Yeah. And next to actually having a force field, and again, the force field, in a sense, has got to have some way of being able to bend light or project light in such a way that makes it look invisible. Got a new military sub that destroyed a Russian missile in the ocean. It's so stealthy, Russian military couldn't hear it moving. Yeah.
You guys have to top that technology. And as you said, we should come over there. I'd love to come over there and have a look at Japan. Absolutely love to. Kampai! Yes, love to.
You just have to keep me away from sushi. I got nothing against eating raw fish, but I couldn't eat it.
you'd make the world's worst lesbian. That's all I can say.
Now, things like dumplings and noodles. I can eat dumplings and noodles till the cows come home. I love them.
See, I don't mind sushi. Don't mind sushi at all.
I can't do sushi.
What's that? You can come and stay with me. You're on. We'll all come over. We'll all come over.
We're all coming over, Irene.
Yeah.
In fact, we'll come over. Oh
You,
no, it's too late. It's already gone. I was going to say we could go over with the Christmas card, but it's already gone.
Yeah, I posted that off.
Damn it. Could have stuck ourselves in the envelope.
Yeah, no, that's all gone. Like I say, covered it in first class stamps and posted it off. So, yeah, it makes you wonder. All this technology, instead of using it for nefarious purposes like most of the government and military do, why don't they use it for good? Because it's absolutely ridiculous. And it's like, one thing I've got to say, we don't normally talk about bobberments, right? I've got to have a rant about this. I was listening to the news, right? And they were talking about how we are in the worst recession now with the cost of living crisis. And there's so many families going to all these charities because they can't even afford heating bills. They can't afford the shopping and this, that, and the other because it's all gone whoop with the prices. And I can only say one thing. The bobberment that's in now, people voted them in. Didn't get rid of them. Voted them in. Kept them in. On this show, you'll see from a few years ago, we warned you this was going to happen. We warned you they'd had a meeting. And this had been pre-decided, especially the fuel and gas and everything, because of high-ups in the bobberment having members of their family or themselves having jobs in the fuel places and the gas places and this, that, and the other. We said
I have noticed though that over the last 2 weeks, diesel here in Colchester, I don't know about anywhere else in the country, but diesel here in Colchester has gone down best part of 10p a litre.
No, it's still,
and that's hell of a drop. It's 149.9 here in Colchester now.
That's the same price I'd pay for unleaded here. But what I was going to say is, we said all this was going to happen, and every time we've said anything's going to happen, a couple of years later it happens, and it does. And it's not we're not mystics or anything like that. But I was listening to the radio today, and it was Radio 2 on the way into work, and they had people complaining and whinging and saying all this was going on, and it's not fair on families. And no, it's not fair on families. It's not fair on the likes of you and I, because of greedy bastards in power who think it's really good to rape the country and take all the money. But we said it was going to happen. People voted them in, and idiots keep voting the same bunch of wankers in every single time. And it's like, wake the fuck up. Stop voting these idiots in, and this might go away eventually.
I mean, the problem is, and it's like when most politicians, they realise the shit has hit the fan.
Yeah, they're screwed now.
And then they go, oh, hang on a minute, we're not going to have a general election until next year. So what we've got to do now is we've got to get our asses into gear, and we've got to do something to change the voters' minds. Now they're in panic mode.
Yep.
Because they know full well that the likes of Reform UK are building steam, and they could steal a lot of seats off of both Conservative and Labour.
You don't want to all Labour in there, both as bad as each other.
So they know full well that they've got to do something to actually get the voters to stay. So now they're pulling out the stops. The only problem is it's too late, and the people have seen it.
Yeah, too late.
And everybody knows now that they've shot themselves in the foot, and it's about time that our voices got heard properly, and the powers that be actually stopped and listened. And this is not just in this country, but all over the world. You look all over the world, and everybody's got the same problems with immigration, with the cost of living crisis, energy bills.
I wish it was that price over here, Irene. 65 cents a litre for unleaded in Japan. It's £1.47 over here.
But what's that? Yeah, but what's that in UK money? 65 cents a litre.
65 cents is probably about 80p.
I don't know what the exchange rate is.
And over in America, it's $2.89.
Yeah, that's still that's high. And
Yeah, that's right.
And considering the USA, yeah.
Is it a litre or a gallon, Eric?
2.89 is a gallon, which is 4.5 litres. So you divide that by 4.
If that's for a gallon, that's really good, because that's way cheaper than we get over here.
2.89, that's what? It's 50, 70. That's like 73p, 72.5p a litre.
Yeah, if that's a gallon you're paying that for, mate. That's really good.
Yeah, 70 odd cents a litre.
Yeah, that's really good. Lowest by me in North Wales is 154.
Yeah.
Like I say, I pay. No, actually, I think it's gone down. I think it's 145 for unleaded here, and I think
it's 146.9 for unleaded a litre in Colchester, and then it's 146.9 for unleaded and 149.9 for diesel. But it was almost £1.60 a litre here a couple of weeks ago, and it's slowly come down.
Oh God, yeah.
That's because they know they've got to pay for it.
That one.
Yeah, that's now being. I mean, that has been quite an ongoing thing actually, because even when I was claiming benefits, they wanted your bank details and they wanted access to it. But that has been mentioned in the House of Lords actually, that the government should have no right whatsoever to go prying into our own personal spaces.
I've heard that the law lords kicking in on that, saying, "Hang on, you're going a bit too far." So whether it comes into effect or not, I don't know.
Well, it's an invasion of privacy and probably against GDP as well. So, it's. I mean, do they have to go through ICO and declare that they're keeping our details?
I can kind of understand it about. You have to excuse me, eat me dinner. Yeah, I can kind of understand it about benefit fraud. I get that.
Yeah,
but
the thing is though, with this business about them looking at our bank accounts, we're giving them permission to do so because we are asking them for certain benefits.
Yeah.
Now they want to make sure we're not defrauding the taxpayer, and so every once in a while they might do an audit just to check to make sure that there's not payments going in and out of them bank accounts that shouldn't be there. And our local council does the same thing for the rent. If you go with a private landlord, they want to make sure that landlord is being paid by the person who's renting that property. And so they require access to their bank account. So I do think it's wrong.
Yeah, me personally, I think it's wrong. I think it's complete and utter bollocks. And if that's the case, then surely we should be allowed to look and see how much tax the top MPs have been paying on their regular things and how much they've actually declared.
Yeah. And like Sarah says on there, the benefit fraud is tiny. Benefit fraud is tiny, but look at how fraudulent the Bobberment is being. 140 million pounds to Rwanda before they've even actually sent anybody there, and they're still paying a certain amount per year to the Rwandan government, even though they haven't sent anybody over there yet. So why are we filtering money out to a foreign government for something that we're not actually using?
It's, as we all know, there's other stuff going on that will eventually come out. Exactly. We should be able to check all MPs' bank accounts if they want transparency. Yep, totally agree.
If they're a public servant being paid by the public should have the right to be able to see what we're paying for. They are public servants after all. They're employed by us, the British taxpayer.
Worst thing we ever did was invent Conservative and Labour. Worst thing.
I personally think Maggie Thatcher's probably turning in her grave. because whether loathe or like the woman, she actually made sense in a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think she would be turning her grave now if she actually saw what the Conservatives have gone and turned to. I mean, we all knew back in the 80s that the Conservatives were there to line their own pockets.
Yep.
And all Labour wanted to do was turn us into a communist country. But it just seems that over the decades, the Conservative Party have just got worse and worse.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just in it for themselves. And now Labour has done the same thing. The big three, even though Lib Dems are almost non-existent at the moment, you don't hear much of them. It's all about Conservative, Labour and Reform UK. But all the big two are doing is just arguing the toss with each other and trying to grab brownie points for, oh, well, you said this and you did that. I mean, what's done's done. You know, you can't. COVID inquiry, they reckon, is going to take 10 years, but other countries have had theirs. It's been and gone. They've just turned around and said, right, you were responsible. That's it. End of.
Yeah.
Whereas us, oh, we need to have a full bloody layout dictionary of everything and day by day account.
I was just about to say, as Sarah said, we have a PM who was a banker involved in the 2008 banking crisis. Yeah. And he was also the Chancellor of the Exchequer, wasn't he? When the COVID stuff was going on. And it was, funnily enough, when the COVID thing first started, it was their meeting that they all had where they decided on the price hike and then selling of the pushing for people to have electric cars when the price hike of the fuel crisis came in, because all these people were all involved in the electricity hike and everything like that. It's all fraud. It's all bollock. It's all pre-done to line their pockets, and they don't give a toss who they stand.
Yeah, I mean, but our PM doesn't need to be PM, and it don't matter how long he's been in power for. He gets an £80,000 a year pension when he leaves. He doesn't need it. Plus, he also gets the benefits from the dividends of Shell, because he's a shareholder. His wife is a shareholder of various companies, including the children's babysitter service Kiddie Karoo.
And no one's looking into that.
The nursery company, she gets dividends from that. She also got dividends from that stupid emergency broadcast siren. Conveniently enough, this goes back to the PPE business when COVID broke out and Boris was giving out contracts to companies that never actually made masks in the past, but then all of a sudden got paid millions of pounds and started producing these masks that were never used. You know, you're paying out for things, and this emergency broadcasting was actually given to Fujitsu to start off with, but they said they couldn't deal with it because they had too much on, and passed it to Mr. Sunak's wife's company that she had dividends in. How convenient!
What a surprise!
You know,
as you probably know, us on the show here, we don't do bobberments. We don't like them. They're always
but we do conspiracies.
Yes, we do. We love conspiracies. And as we know, pretty much every single government throughout the world they're corrupt. Pretty much. Apart from maybe Norway. We're not sure about Norway. But the rest of them... I
like Norway.
Yeah.
I got a friend that lives in Norway, musician. He's bloody good at it as well. Glenn Main Eriksson, if you get a chance to have a look at him on YouTube, he is electro pop. So he's very much like a Jean-Michel Jarre. And a few years back, he was on Norway's Got Talent. It's pretty cool. No, electric car. Yeah, Irene's spot on. Electric cars were, oh, wow, yeah, amazing, brilliant. Yeah. The only problem was then someone leaked that to actually make the batteries, it uses something like 30,000 litres of sulfuric acid to actually get the elements needed to put in the batteries. And that makes the batteries unstable. So at random, these batteries could just go pop and set fire to the whole car. Now, to replace that car, you're looking at paying thousands and thousands of pounds all over again. So the environmental damage that's created by these batteries, it's just worse.
It costs something like £20,000 to make one battery, doesn't it?
Yep.
And it's ridiculous. You got all the slavery and everything that goes on,
and the environmental damage that's caused from the sulfuric acid. I mean, it's got to go somewhere. So they've got to dispose of that sulfuric acid when it's all been spent.
And the thing is a lot of the MPs have got shares in companies that dispose of waste, right?
Or generate the waste in the first place.
Yeah. And they pay this company to ship waste, and they'll ship waste, take it over to Japan, then it gets moved from there over to North America, and then it gets shipped straight back to the UK, back to this company, which just spends the whole time shipping it around and moving it around, and they get paid minted because of the Boberman being in on it.
Yep. There's also what was it I saw today? Oh, that was it. Bill Gates has got 4 private aircraft. One of those aircraft, and it's a smaller aircraft, okay, in one of his journeys actually gives out more emissions in that one trip than any diesel or unleaded motor car generates in its entire lifetime on the road.
Yeah.
So all these little business trips he goes on, he's the one that's actually creating, these big businessmen are actually creating more pollution in the world than all of us little people in our cars.
Electric cars, for me, I mean, I've driven a couple. Yeah, the acceleration on them is ridiculous. It really is, because it's like being in a Scalextric's car. However, and this will show you what they're like. I had a Fiat 500 on loan whilst my old car, the Jeep, was being serviced. And this thing I picked up from Hull, drove to where, and it was on, had a full charge. I drove from Hull to where I used to live in Howden, which was 22 miles. Stayed there, the car didn't move, and then I drove it back later on from Howden back to Hull, and again 22 miles, so just under 50 miles, and there was a quarter of a charge left in it. That's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And you don't get the range on them. You just don't get the range on them.
But this is where you need a self-charging electric car. See, again, it's all about the money. Oh, your car has only done, you've got to do 200 miles, but your car is only going to do 120 miles on a full charge, which means you have got to stop somewhere to charge your vehicle. So you stop to charge your vehicle, most of the time it's at a service station, and they're going to charge you the equivalent of, I think I've seen a video where a lady had stopped at a service station to charge her car up enough to continue her journey till she gets home, right? And according to the electric monitor thing that charges her car, it cost her £38 just to get 80 miles worth of electricity in her car.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Now, that 80 miles, I could do that on 20 quid in my car and still have fuel left over.
And you've just proved it yourself. It's all to do with the scam that's going on of the guys who run the fuel companies and the electric companies. And they did all this first. They hiked everything up, the cost, the prices, the price of electricity. Then after that had happened, and they said to us, oh, this is going to happen. It's going to go up. It's going to go up. Then when that happened, they went, do you know what? Electric cars are the way. You should buy an electric car. And what they failed to say was, one tank of fuel is the equivalent of about 100 miles in an electric car. So you're paying 4 times in an electric car for what you get in one tank of fuel. And it's all done because the greedy bastards, the corrupt bastards, are all lining in their own pockets. They're done. They know they're done, but it's too late. Damage is done.
Yep.
And they'll never do anything about it. They'll never take it back. They'll never change it.
And the thing is as well as it all relates to reducing this carbon footprint, but what they seem to forget that a lot of people, well, they try to blindside people into thinking that we've got to be zero carbon.
Yeah.
The problem is if you go zero carbon, you're going to, excuse my French, you're going to fuck yourselves up.
Yeah.
You know, we need carbon dioxide. Now, carbon's in the word.
We need this
carbon dioxide. If we don't have carbon dioxide, the plants can't breathe. The plants can't breathe. They don't give out oxygen. We don't breathe. We're dead. End of game. So we need carbon dioxide. We need all these pollutants in certain aspects, because without them, our plants won't grow. if electric vehicles for the future, why do our government have petrol and diesel cars? Exactly. Or private jets. I mean, we can't have an electric jet because that's just ridiculous. We'll get these new homes all electric, and it's unpopular as heck. We go against the next earthquake and knock out the power, you're screwed. I have gas, not all electric. So, but the problem is even then having gas. So you have an earthquake and it fractures a gas line. You're just as knackered as without the electric.
That there, I can remember a few years ago that they were trying to get together a reform to charge different areas X amount for the oxygen that's used. I can remember.
I saw that comment, and the first thing I thought of was Spaceballs.
Oh God, yeah. Well,
when the governor opens his drawer and pulls out a can of Perry Air, and he goes,
"Ah." You can see that happening, can't you?
Yeah, and it would be right. It would be right. If you want clean air, you'll pay for it, and it's. You're looking at everything without. It's all right saying you need to be less polluted. Be less pollution on this planet. Yes, we agree, but there is a way of doing it that's not going to destroy other things, and that's what we're doing at the moment. We're trying to be good for our planet, but what we're doing is we're not making it worse. We're keeping it the same, but we're doing it in a different way.
All the mining and stuff that they're doing, the toll that it's taking is ridiculous.
Yeah, but the thing is we stand there and we say, well, we want to do this, so we'll rely on this more. And so as a result of that, they cut down more trees, and then they forget that the trees are what are giving us our oxygen in the first place, along with other plants. So you're basically cutting your nose off despite your face by standing there saying, well, we need this, so we'll use that. So like they do in Rendlesham Forest, they rotate the trees.
Yeah.
So they take one section, they cut them down, then they replant the trees. They put new saplings in, and then another year later, they go to another section of forest, they cut that one down and replant the trees. So it's complete rotation. So there's constantly trees being grown. There's constantly trees taking in the CO2, giving out oxygen, which is brilliant. But it's at the cost of something else.
Yeah.
So where we're benefiting with one, we're taking and losing with the other.
Well, the thing that pisses me off, and we're going to have to finish the show in a minute because I've just seen the time, but the thing that pisses me off, and we've spoken about it before, they already know about 0 point energy. They already know there's a certain field. And I don't mean a field as in grass. I mean a field as in electromagnetic or whatever the hell zero is. But they've invented. They know they can reach the 0 point energy field. They know they can reach it, and they know they can tap it. There's been several things invented. 0 point energy generators invented. Unlimited energy, free energy. You can never run out of 0 point energy. It's limitless. The government have all that. They've snapped up all the patents, all the inventions, and anybody who's dared kick up about it, they've killed them. They've taken them out. We all know this. It's common knowledge. It's public knowledge. But they still turn.
I saw something the other day actually about that, and that was I can't remember exactly where it was. It was a town in Texas. Had built a Tesla coil.
Yeah.
And they were going to be using it to project energy to the occupants of the town. So that's free energy. That harnesses the energy from the earth naturally and projects it to the households of that town free. And it would essentially be free energy. So it would be reduced cost because somewhere along the line there will be a price.
Nutters.
You might end up in a different dimension by doing that. You never know.
It's corruption. It's corruption.
And this is the problem, and it's a global thing. It's not just in certain countries. It's global. Every bobberman that's out there is going to be looking after their own interests more than they will the people's interests. And it's not until the people stand up and go, "Oi, we've had enough of this," it's about time you got your act together or you're gone. You know,
And they won't, because if we do that, they'll do martial law. They will literally get the army out. We're fine, thank you, Kenny.
well, yeah, I mean, they can get the army out, but if everybody was to turn around and say, well, bollocks to you, then I'm not going to work, I'm going to stay indoors, I'm going to watch TV, then see what happens.
Yeah.
Country will come to a standstill because no one's going to work, no one's earning any money, companies aren't earning any money, the government won't be earning any money, and the government's treasury will just go.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and this is where a lot of people don't realise that, believe it or not, people power does make a difference.
Yeah, they've taken away the right to protest already. See, I totally agree that if you're going to glue yourself to a road and stop things like emergency services getting through on blue lights, yeah, you're a fucking idiot. I agree with if something has to be protested, yeah, do it, but don't do that because that's selfish. That is selfish. People could die because of it.
I just think that lot. I don't understand that just stop oil people simply because they're all sitting there wearing stuff that has all been transported in using oil products. And the one thing that made me giggle as well was I watched something and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, do you know what? Actually, this does make sense. That how can oil be classed as a fossil fuel? We all know what a fossil is.
I remember you telling me about that.
How can oil be a fossil fuel? A fossil is the fossilized remains, which means it's rock friggin' hard. It's like a brick, it's concrete, it's rock. So how can oil be a solid? And we know fossils take a long period of time to develop. Some scientists is now turned around and saying oil doesn't take that long to actually develop. And they are looking at synthetic oils that can be used to make fuels that don't have half the pollutants that the modern ones that we've got do. And that's because the technology and the research has gone into it that enables for this to happen. Yeah. And that's what they're ruling out, that petrol, diesel and crude oil isn't a fossil fuel because they're just using that as a penned term to get you into their way of thinking.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's like I said, anything to do with any form of fuel, be it petrol, diesel, gas, electricity, anything. Guaranteed, sure as God made little green apples, somebody in the Bobberman has got their fingers in that pie and is making some money off it.
Oh, definitely.
On that note, I'm glad you like the show, guys. We're going to finish now because I need to finish my tea before it goes freezing cold, and I need to take the dog out for it, and then I've got to go.
And I need to stock up on my vitamin C. I've got to have another spiced ginger and lemon tea.
Rock and roll lifestyle, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Well, it's not a rock and roll lifestyle. It's lifestyle. It's a spook and Orient Dark Mirror show lifestyle. No, since we did the Christmas investigation at the church farm, I've got really sort of heady and bunged up and everything else. And that's taken me over a week now of drinking spiced ginger and cinnamon, lemon, honey tea concoction. And the cough has gone from right down in my chest and it's come right up to the top of my throat. So I know it's going. But I do feel a hell of a lot better just by drinking that. And all I've done is got...
Who makes these tea bags?
Hey?
Who makes the tea bags?
Twinings.
There you go. So as sponsored by Twinings.
Yeah, as sponsored by Twinings. And well, I say Twinings. It's not just Twinings. It's the Twinings spiced ginger tea bags, but it's also Tesco's honey No, not Tesco's honey. Tesco's lemon juice. And what's it called?
Ask Pickety Minds first.
Clear honey. Who did the honey? Let's have a look. Oh, Hilltop Value Clear Honey. So there we go. So I slap all that in a mug and boil it all up. Lovely. It's gorgeous.
Well, Rachel's got strep throat as well at the moment, so that's all well going down. I haven't come down with it, thank fuck. Right, on that note, do you mind not kicking me, young man?
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, on that note, remember next Monday, 9 o'clock, not 9:30, 9 o'clock. It's the last show of the year, and it's the Christmas quiz, where, as you know, it's going to be rather interesting. People will be having a drink. There'll be 50 questions, lots of Mickey taking, lots of joking. You can all join us. You can all join in. You can all get a piece of paper and a pen, and you can do it with us if you like. Even I'm going to be doing it. Yeah,
we're going to try and put a little advert out sort of towards the end of this week, probably Thursday. So if anybody that wants to, just share it out and see if we can get some more people to join in.
It'd be brilliant. Thank you very much, Cliff. That's actually really nice. I'm glad you all like the show. I'm really glad because it's ever since we've been in this version of it, and I asked Wayne to join me in presenting the show. It's the best form of the show. It's been really good, and thank you for everybody who stuck with us. Really appreciate it. So on that note, I will say I'm going to bugger the offie and aliens, and we will see you next Monday, 9 p.m. And it's goodbye from him. Go on.
What?
Hey, bye.
Go on.
It's bye from him. I just fed you the line. It's bye from him.
No, I'm straight, thanks.
Thank you. There you go.
I got me own back.
You can't get the staff these days. And we will see you next Monday. So remember, keep your eyes to the skies. If you see anything, tell us. You can either message either one of us on Facebook. You can leave a message on the Dark Mirror Radio Show Facebook wall. Or you can go to www.thedarkmirrorshow.co.uk, or you can email us at thedarkmirrorshow.co.uk. So if you see anything, take a picture. Let us know. Cheerio. See you next week. Bye. Bye. And yes, the truth is out there. Bye. Oh.